Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the night point of view review of the new Renault Clio. This is the 5th generation Intens package. This is the petrol version that has also the LPG gas combo. So this is the 1.0 liter 3-cylinder petrol engine with 100 horsepower. So it's TCE. Yep. So I'm just gonna show you this nice key that's kind of not classical, but you can turn on the LED lights so we can see that. We have 16-inch alloys, summer tires, very comfortable, and we come to the back as well. LED lights, so this is off. So I'm gonna keep the key in my pocket and then the car locks itself. But if you approach the car, it unlocks. So also just to show you the cargo space, so if we hold the key, there's a button, it unlocks, so you don't have to press the button that's really below the license plate. So we can see the illumination here, very good cargo area for a small hatchback, very deep, despite that you have an LPG tank below. So it's 391 liters, 1069 if you knock down the seats, and the hatch closes perfectly, so no rattle sound. You don't need to use a lot of force every time, it just closes perfectly, so that's nice. Let's hop inside. So key is in my pocket, but the car lights were on, so sometimes it gets confused, so you can press here always and lock the car, or just then unlock the car. So it gets confused a little bit, but just because I was approaching and demonstrating, it usually works flawlessly on the test so far. So let's just hop in. So seatbelt on, safety first. Look right on the interior, no lights on the back, so only on the front. So I guess this car is mostly aimed at small family, I guess, of two for starts, or I don't know, for or maybe just for young adults for first car. So Clio is a very popular car, pleased to have one on the test finally. I like the infotainment. This is 9.3 inch, you get the digital display, not too many customization options, but it's digital. You can change the colors and the display options in the infotainment, but you cannot change it like through this menus, so a bit limiting, but it's an option for the main infotainment. Turn on the engine. Now I'm going to switch to, I'm going to stay on the petrol, because with the LPG or CNG, you need to drive on petrol first to warm up the engine, and then all my temperatures actually idle. So I'm just gonna switch to LPG. So LPG is like more than half cheaper than petrol. So for the Americans who stumble upon this video, when I say gas, it's like a natural gas in liquid state. It's not gas as a petrol. That's why I'm saying petrol. So before we hit start, just gonna show you demonstration of the radio. So these are bass speakers, and you can control it here on the touch, or there's a little lever below the washers. So let me just, oops, I can switch to now the Bluetooth source radio. So no, let's just, so I'm gonna mute that not to get a copyright strike. The bass speakers, I usually say they're decent. These are, I would say, okay. If you turn on the bass too much, it just rattles through the doors. So yep, that's it. Let's just start driving, and if you press on the navigation, you get a nice view. Over here you have, like, excuse me, shortcuts and different views. So you have all the safety features here, and you have apps over here like shortcuts, but we're just gonna, excuse me, stay in the navigation. So if you want to start, the car releases the parking brake a little bit late, but it does work. Turning angle is excellent. It's a small city hatchback, but it's a small car, so it wouldn't be a problem. But this new cars all have, I would say, excellent turning angle if you need to do a U-turn. This one especially. I'm just gonna break the ice and tell one thing, that on the test is the only minus I would say for this car. I'm not sure if it's this particular car or is it in general, because I haven't had opportunity to sit in other cars. I did sit in the first model in Geneva that I filmed that has a lot of views, so I got this 2 years later. But they have lifted in the interior the space where the manual transmission is, and when I lean my my knees next to the transmission, you can hear this like sounds of the plastic. It's just, even when you're driving regularly, like over the speed bumps, sometimes you hear it. When you're switching gears, you hear it. It's the only thing that I think maybe should have got a little bit better. So that's one thing that would probably drive me nuts in this car. But the rest is pretty solid, I would say. And the ride is comfortable. The ride is really, I'm just gonna lower this. So the ride is really comfortable, and it's a French car. So, but another critic in the interior, the seats, at first they're comfy, and I'm a taller person than the average, but so the most seats aren't designed for my height. But after a long journey, I got a little bit back pain, lower back pain, because there's no lumbar support. Lumbar support is not optional, at least on this seats. And this is not a problem of Renault. I had a Mercedes as well with no lumbar support, and it was just painful. So for me, that would personally be something that would discourage me from getting the car. Driving, so steering's nice and precise, and brakes are not too aggressive, all standard. The car is very stable in the corners if you go a little bit more aggressive. The back end doesn't stick out. It's very good. So it's a small hatchback, so there's no tilting. You really have to be aggressive, but in normal driving that doesn't happen. I'm very pleased with the comfort of the driving. Now about the petrol, the 100 horsepower in a small hatchback is a lot. So this car is very torquey. I mean, the engine is very torquey. It's very responsive. In the lower gears, you just speed up, and it's very, very, very good, in my opinion. So the manual transmission, it isn't precise. So it's a 5-speed manual. 5-speed manual. I don't think you need more in this car. I mean, usually it's better to have 6 gears, but in this one, so this woman is confused. But I have a yield. In this particular roundabout, they have the rite of pass. Maybe she's new, out of the city. Anyway, so the manual transmission isn't precise like the German cars, but it's very solid, so I wouldn't complain about it. All of the gear knob is a little bit chunky, and feels like you're in a rally car, and it's taller, so maybe easier for reach, but I prefer it to be lower, like on the classic setup. But this is just a matter of personal taste. The LED lights are very good, and as you can see, the car is just punchy, just speeds up and drives very nicely. But again, not sure if you can hear. Maybe the camera microphone isn't focusing as much on the sounds that I was mentioning. So I'm gonna switch to the LPG, to the petrol from the LPG. So just press over the button and wait for it. So at some point there's like a click on the rear, or at least I think there was, and the car should just switch. So I read someone said that it switches when you stop, but I think I heard like a click on the rear, and I believe it just switches, or maybe just immediately switches to the petrol. When you're driving on the petrol, I believe, let's hear if we can hear that sound. Didn't hear the sound, so I'm not sure if it switched. So I did notice that the car is drives more responsibly. I mean, the engine drives more, it just has a little bit more torque. It sounds better when you're on petrol, and I think it did switch now to the petrol. So yeah, the petrol I think is a lot better, although you're saving with gas, but the engine's a little bit more responsive. It just sounds better. It sounds better, yeah, and it responds better on the throttle when you punch it. So and another detail, this particular model doesn't have a trip computer because of the LPG. I guess they were so uncertain how much are you spending on LPG, or they didn't know how to calculate that, so they just decided to remove the computer that will tell you what your consumption is. So I guess you'll have to trust the data, so I won't be doing a consumption test. So another nice feature is that you have auto hold on the bottom here next to the electronic parking brakes, so you don't have to hold even when you're on a downhill or uphill. The car just holds. So we're gonna go to the highway. And do a little highway speed test. So soundproof of the car is, I would say, good up to 130, although today was very windy, but if you're going above the speed limits, I think at 150 it's quite noisy. So soundproof is good on the city speeds, but on the highway, motorway, it's fairly good up to 130. One thing I would like, maybe, well, you can always spec a lot of options, but on this car I would say I like auto dimming mirrors, and maybe a blind spot wouldn't hurt, because when you just turn your head to check your blind spot, the headrest might be in the way, and but in certain situations. But overall overview around the car is great, even when you turn on the backing camera. As you can see here, you can see the line on the side. You can see like only the rear camera, probably have like 360. It's an option. This car had that spec, but it's very nice. This also screen is a bigger screen. You can get a smaller screen, but I would definitely go for the big one. At least if you have a navigation, I think it's, yeah, you can have the navigation with a small one, but definitely go for the bigger one. And suspension, again, 16-inch tires. More tire means more comfort. So even through the big manholes, like potholes, it's quite it's quite good. You know, the ride comfort is very, very soft. So while I'm waiting for the light, as soon as you press in the clutch, the engine turns on with the start-stop engaged. One thing I think I forgot to mention was the price of this car is at 18,500 euros. So I think that's a good price, especially with some options you have, and with the fact that you can drive on LPG and save some money in the process as well. So that's pretty good. The RS line looks pretty dope, but not sure if I would be willing to pay extra for the looks for a small B segment car, but it does look very nice. I saw one in person. So 130, the asphalt here is a little bit rougher, but summer tires are quite quiet. There's a little side wind, maybe even on the A-pillar, some wind noise. Gonna speed up to 150. By the way, legal in Croatia. 20% tolerance on the highway, 10% on local roads and city. So that's a lot of wind noise. Going down to 140 using cruise control. And just gonna drop it to 120. A little distance behind me. So 100 is fairly good. There's 100 here, so I slow down to the 100. I really like the navigation. I just noticed that right now. It's so nice. You also have the speed limiter, which is very functional, and I can turn on my long beam now, won't blind anyone. So that's a good long beam. And I would say the LED lights are very, very good, despite not having a lens and a nice, transition between the beam. But it's very good, very solid. Navigation, we added. You can press here to have different views. You can change the brightness of the screen. It's maybe a little bit too high, it's too strong. You can have this, or you can have this. And the screen is fairly responsive. You have live traffic information, weather. If you get close to the line, the steering wheel vibrates, but it won't hold you in the line, so it just warns you when you're out. So and this is our exit. Cruise control off. So in the future we'll be getting more Renault cars. We'll also get a Renault Zoe. One thing I do like about manual transmissions is that you can just slow down by shifting to a lower gear and just brake with the engine, just like on the electric cars. On the automatics, that's not really the case. So when you don't have auto dimming, it really sucks when someone comes behind you and just has a very bright LEDs. So I can just use the cruise control, the speed limiter now. Just press that speed I'm driving, and here's speed is 80, so 10% would be 88. And I set to 88. And then it just limits my speed. So if I'm in a country like Austria, which is very restricted, no tolerance, then I would feel safe to drive, not being afraid of getting a speeding ticket. So that's nice. We're gonna come to the part where there are no street lights. So outside the city, so we can test the LEDs headlights in the dark. Another Clio. This is probably the 4th generation, but the wagon version, or the estate, British would say. So overall, I think I like the car, but I think Renault should just work on the interior quality a bit, because the design is nice, but like some finishing details like this bottom part, now when I'm stopped, you're gonna hear, so when I lean my foot here, you can hear that. And then I thought it was like nice and soft, nice design, but then it's just sometimes just gets annoying. So I hope they can just maybe fix it. I don't know. But the rest is really nice. I really like this concept of the screen on the top, and the whole design philosophy. And the exterior of the car is really nice looking. Like comparing the latest generations, I mean, this is similar to the 4th generation, but I really like the 5th generation, just stylish. And in general, Renault cars, Renault is something we used to say as kids as a short here in Croatia, I guess. Renault cars, I really like them. They've stepped their game, especially, you know, the other segments, but this is like the entry model, so the more money, the more quality, of course. Okay, so we're coming to part where there's no street lights, and there's going to be street lights, and then again no street lights. So this is normal beam, this is a long beam. So, but we're gonna make a full stop after this one in a pitch black, and then I'm using the GoPro 9 in this case, which has fairly decent sensor, but not as good as the iPhone 12 Pro, which has a bigger sensor, so it gets more light. So I'm going to show you it's more how it looks in person, especially with the night mode. Traffic, late hour. Getting spring, nice warm temperatures, and there's more people.
Unsurfaced road.
Oh, that's a nice navigation warned me there. Okay, so I think we're gonna stop here. So, neutral. So this is the normal beam, this is the long beam. So I've seen better, but still it's decent, okay, I would say. I'm gonna switch to my iPhone camera. So this is the iPhone camera, and This is the short beam, and then this is the long beam. So demo of the automatic long beam, as you can see on the left. So I'm going to attempt to do this with one hand. And then there we go. So let's check the navigation search. So we're a little bit uphill, so the auto hold is holding, and let's see. Avenue Mall. So I like to have you have the space in the middle. That's nice. Like, well, not like Volkswagen on the side, which makes no sense. So yeah, let's go. The destination is already closed, but yeah, I do want to go there. So that's very informative. So the A pillar, sometimes like this, maybe you can see it from your angle, but I can't see the traffic light. So yeah, sometimes, and also this box is on the top, sometimes create some blind spots. Press go.
Please turn next left.
And over here I can select this one, excuse me. I can select the other one here. Okay. And you can see the navigation in the infotainment top right corner. So let's head out. So okay, thank you. We also have live traffic. It's handy when there's rush hour. So there's an option to avoid traffic. That's a nice thing. So we're getting close to the end of our review. So I would say the Clio has gotten improved design-wise, technology-wise, but I'm gonna compare it to other French brands, which also stepped up their game. And I think, you know, despite this noisy thing, if that was not here, I would say this is an excellent small car. So I think only they need to work out on small refinement of the interior, small details, but overall the car is very good. You get a lot of technology for the buck, so I really like this.
Meters, leave the roundabout at the second exit.
So even this navigation, like all the cars almost do not have this new thing updated, so doesn't really matter. I would say it's a good package for the money. It's
follow the road for 1 kilometer.
It has the new, you know, all the new features you would like to have in a modern car, so that's nice. My verdict is that this is a very solid, comfortable,
prepare to turn right soon.
Comfortable small hatchback. So, you know, I would consider it if you know you're looking for a small car. Clio is very popular car for sure. It made a lot of sales, so I believe it will continue to do so.
Turn right after 300 meters.
If you stumble upon this video, if this is your first video you watched and you like the content, feel free to subscribe, it's free, and then click the little bell to get notifications when I upload a new video. I do a lot of car reviews, new cars. Actually,
right after 100 meters.
Thank you, shut up. I'm one of the first reviewers that started this, so it would help me. I'm from Croatia, so small country, so it's hard to compete with the bigger countries where you have more cars, bigger markets. So, but it'll help me if you subscribe, if you like the video, if you leave a comment below, if you have any questions. There's gonna be always in the description all the information about the car, all the technical details, price, and all that details. So, you know, subscribe if you want to see more.
You have reached your destination.
Thank you. Okay, so is that a Taycan? It's not. So let's see here. Just gonna find a nice spot where there's plenty of lights, like maybe this spot, because the garage is in a sort of let's call it off time mode, so not all the lights are on, but I still want you to see the color. So as you can see, the camera is quite useful, especially the 360. Although personally I like to look at the mirrors. I'm an old school guy when it comes to parking. So, but this is handy, definitely, for sure. So I wish my mirror can dip, but have the camera up. Is it? So sometimes fifth gear is always doesn't fit right in at first. So I think that's about it. So thank you for watching. I hope I'm gonna see you in the next one. Don't forget your key and your mobile phone in the car, like I do sometimes. And I'm gonna probably see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. As always, stay safe at home and at the road. Drive responsibly. So there you go, the beautiful Clio.